Our first guest tonight calling today's impeachment proceedings, quote, the beginning of the stupidest week in the Senate. As the former president's defense team is coming under scrutiny tonight, we just discussed with Chad. Let's bring in impeachment trial juror and Republican senator from North Dakota, Sen Cramer. Senator, good to have you with us tonight.
Good to be with you, Shannon. Thank you.
So you're not a fan of the procedure today. Were you a fan of what you saw from the president's legal team today?
Well, I do think that they could have been better organized and better prepared. What seemed to strike me was that Mr. Castor didn't seem, in fact, he basically admitted up front that he was not prepared for the House managers either to be as good as they were, or I think to veer so far from the question of the day, which, remember, the question today was simply a question about Senate jurisdiction. But as you know, many good jurists do, they bring up the issues they want to talk about as opposed to the issues that are necessarily on the agenda. And so, as you know, they spent the first 20, 25 minutes showing a video, ramping people up, trying to get emotional, not talking specifically about Senate jurisdiction. And I think that threw the president's team off. It got them off to a rocky start. I think a lot of what both Mr. Castor and Mr. Schoen said was relevant to certain things, certainly to the constitutional questions of things like, free speech, and I appreciate them not apologizing for free speech, because free speech is under assault in so many avenues and so many areas right now, and this is one of them. Due process, obviously very important. The issue of the wide net, which is, they said, is a violation of Senate rules. All those things are relevant, Shannon, and they're relevant either to the Constitution or to our rules. They might even be a reasonable case for dismissal, but they didn't get to the heart of the Senate jurisdictional question until 90 minutes into their presentation. But they did get there.
And the vote did not go their way, but the bigger vote, and the one that matters for the former president moving forward, is this one of conviction. And there's a lot of doubt about whether that is going to come anywhere close to happening. So it begs the question about why this trial is happening. One of the president's legal team members today, attorney David Schoen, had this to say about what he thinks is really going on.
Many Americans see this process for exactly what it is: a chance by a group of partisan politicians seeking to eliminate Donald Trump from the American political scene and seeking to disenfranchise 74 million plus American voters.
Senator, how much is this about, one, blocking former President Trump from making another run at federal office at the White House, and two, about lumping in or discrediting all 74 million plus people who voted for him because of what happened January 6th by some people who obviously must and are facing criminal charges?
Well, I think that's exactly why it's so disappointing that our current president, President Biden, won't comment on that. Suddenly he's got no opinion, and yet he's, his speech at the inauguration and since has been about unity, unity, unity. They even tried to make the point tonight that the only way to have unity is to have this impeachment trial. And it's like you couldn't be further from accurate than that. I think that that's probably one of the most poignant points that Mr. Schoen made. And again, I think that's more of a setup for what's going to happen over the course of the next 4 days than it was relevant to the question of jurisdiction. But nonetheless, I think they wanted that out there early, and I think he did a good job. That's one of the areas where I think they did a good job of presenting the point that there's this cancel culture going on in many arenas, and this is yet one more avenue for them to take.
All right, just a couple of seconds. I want to get your reaction to this. ABCnews.com, Matthew Dowd, writing an opinion piece there, says, to achieve unity, we need the Trump impeachment trial. There are numerous examples from around the world of the need to get to truth and accountability before you can get to reconciliation. Says you got to have the impeachment in order to get to unity. Quick comment from you.
I think what this really is going to result in is that every time the House of Representatives has a different majority than a party than the White House, we're going to see annual partisan impeachments. God help us if we go down that trail. But I've been a senator for 2 years. This is my second impeachment trial. The only other thing about as crazy as this is it started with a government shutdown, the Schumer shutdown. We've got to get to unity, but this is not going to get us there.
Well, we wish that for the country on places that you can come together in agreement. Senator Cramer, thanks for stopping in tonight.
Thank you, Shannon. My pleasure.